Hello everybody and welcome back to the Leeds Lens. This is the third time looking doing this stream, so I hope now we're all good, but I'm pretty sure we are now all good. So let's get into today's show. I am honestly absolutely gutted with that today. Genuinely, absolutely gutted. I can't believe we've got so close to the ultimate victory of getting it over the line against Bournemouth in a game against a mammoth opposition. I know they're not mammoth in club size, but in terms of team, they are a mammoth team. And we were so good and so strong all game. And we battled and we matched them and we were there physically and we were brilliant. But right at the end, we dropped deeper and deeper and deeper. And we, as I said in the earlier stream, which people may have missed, we paid the ultimate price in the end. We paid the ultimate price, but it's absolutely gut-wrenching. And to be honest, the further I've got on with this, and the more streams that have failed around this, I'm now more frustrated than I am sort of really gut-wrenched, as the title would say. But honestly, so frustrating, because when you're like me, and I when I'm watching Leeds, I wear my heart on my sleeve. Like, I'm kicking every ball, I'm booting it into the crowd, I'm head-putting our walls in our house to try it, as if I had to head it out. And I absolutely dropped to my knees when that second goal went in, because it's just, I know how important it is now. And we are making a sort of a thing at Leeds United now of conceding late goals. This is the second time it's happened. The first one is obviously we went down as a Goodmanson unlucky goal at the end. But I think the question's going to have to start being answered by Daniel Farke at some point. Are we going too defensive late on in games now? Are we dropping too deep and too deep and too deep? And we can't, it gets to a point where you just cannot soak up so much pressure. I'm not saying that is the case, but I think there is a question mark. Also as well, if you're watching on Twitter, which is currently being streamed on, come over to YouTube, get your comments in, and we'll interact from there. But I am, honestly, from going into the game, I think it was always going to be a difficult game. 100%. This was always going to be a challenging game. And Bournemouth at times today, I think, showed the quality. On the ball, the likes of, I thought David Brooks when he came on looked good, but Semenyo was constantly a threat all game as well. I thought they were really strong. I thought they were really strong. But in the same breath, I thought in that second half, we completely matched Bournemouth. I thought we matched the intensity of Bournemouth. I thought we matched the press of Bournemouth. And I thought, to be honest with you, we were the miles better team in the second half. But I was just disappointed that when it gets to the 80th minute, we just go more and more defensive and sit further back and further back. And I know at times game state dictates what's going to happen to football clubs. I get that. And I get that's why we moved further and further back. But in the same breath, we've got to find a way, in my opinion, of managing it in a better way than just going further and further back. Because we have seen now, twice in a row, we've gone from a situation where we're in the game, we're drawing the game against, obviously, Fulham, or today, where we're winning the game, and we're throwing points to it because we're going too defensive, I think. I genuinely believe that's the case. And we didn't need to do it, because we were actually picking up good possession, we were winning corners, we were doing all right, we were going forward, showing a bit of a threat. Bogle was getting down that right-hand side, Goodmanson was getting down left-hand side, and when Bogle would go forward, Longstaff would cover on the left-hand side, you'd see at times Stat covering or Strout coming round and covering as well. And we had a base there with the fullbacks going forward to sort of go and get a third goal potentially. But instead, we just go and drop deeper and deeper and deeper. But we just didn't deserve it. We didn't deserve it, and we didn't need to do that, because we'd actually been so good in the game and so strong in the game throughout that we didn't need to drop deeper and deeper and deeper. I thought we were quite good in the game at just sort of managing it and going forward at times. And as I said, creating chaos, which is what we made it all day today. But, you know, look, it's another point on the board. And to be honest with you, with the way it was going at the end, I just wanted to get the game ended as soon as it went 2-2, because they were pushing on again, and it looked like they might go and get a third. But I do think today will be remembered, to be honest with you, of an overall thing. Yes, it was gut-wrenching. Yes, we maybe went too defensive. But I think overall today we're remembered as 2 drop points, because we deserved the win today. We were the better team. If that was a boxing fight, we'd have won the game, and we'd have won on points. We were the better team. DCL has 3 huge chances in the first half, in my opinion. All 3 of them could have ended up in the back of the net. It's a one-on-one early on. Obviously, the second one is a stabbing from the box. I can't remember exactly who it was. A stabbing from the box, and it bounces, obviously, to Bogle or Longstaff that had a shot. It comes across. Calvert-Lewin should score. And then the free header as well from an unbelievable overhead kick sort of assist from Aronson. I'm not 100% sure he was trying to do it, but I can't criticise the guy. It was a decent ball in from Brendan Aronson. And it's a free header. He's got to score. And then we find ourselves going 1-0 down after having 3 huge chances in the first 20 minutes in the most ridiculous way possible. I mean, I can pick out a number of errors from that goal, and I don't want to be too negative because this isn't the worst result in the world, but it's just so disappointing. We've put so much into the game and we've worked so hard to just give it up right at the end. But that is the difference between the Championship and the Premier League. Teams go to the right to the end, they don't give up, they're not intimidated by the Elland Road atmosphere, and they'll carry on going and almost look like the home side for the last 10 minutes, which is what they did. But yeah, the first goal and the free kick I do want to talk about because there's errors all over the place, if we're being totally honest. The first error is Stack. Stack does not need to touch him there. Do not touch him. The amount of time you've just got to jockey him and shadow him and make sure he can't turn you. But you don't need to go full throttle at him there. You don't need to do that. I thought that was overzealous from Stack, and he didn't need to do it. And then the free kick's taken. And to be honest with you, I wasn't expecting that to happen when the free kick went in. I know it's a dangerous position. I know Semenyo can strike a ball strongly. So I knew that was always going to be a threat. But I thought if Semenyo's going to score, it's probably going to be in the far side and Darlow's side, like we saw from Stack last week. But when I saw Aronson laying down the floor, and if anyone else watched this, you will have noticed it. He did look small behind them, the 4 people in the actual wall. He did look small, and I thought, do we need to put him there? Of all the players, do we need to have him there? And I must admit, I didn't see the sort of opening on the far side, but obviously Bournemouth did. And Semenyo takes a shot then and just blasts it straight through. But again, when you're in the Premier League, you can't afford to make mistakes like that. And I do think today, as much as we put into the game, it will have to be a learning curve for Leeds United because we cannot afford to do that. We cannot afford to give up moments like that. It's so neck and neck. We've drawn the game 2-2 here. And you don't give up the first goal, we definitely win the game because we'd have been 2-0 up at the time. And you've got to then switch on right at the end and we give up another goal. But again, that goal, their first goal, for me, Aronson should be further stretched out or not in the wall at all if he can't cover it. Darlow should know that and set the wall up properly. And Stack shouldn't give the foul in the first way. So 3 key mistakes. If you make 3 key mistakes in the Premier League, it's no doubt you're going to end up conceding a goal. That's how it is. That's how competitive the game is. And I did think as well, when we went 1 behind in the first half, I think we took about sort of 10 to 15 minutes to recover from that. I thought Ampadu's passing to Darlow at times was crazy. I thought Darlow's kicking at times was crazy. And I don't think this was Darlow's best game all in, really. Although in the same breath, obviously, I don't think he could save either the shots, although the wall should have been settled better. But I thought we struggled after we did score today, after they did score in the first half. But then we came into it. We get a goal from a powering header from Joe Rodon. And by the way, we've somehow, from nowhere, spawned a set-piece taker now, with, of course, Sean Longstaff, who every single cross was good. All deep to the back post, which is fine. It's actually what I've called for on this channel before. The deep sort of floated ball. And then get your powerful centre-halves and DCL attacking it from the far post and either knocking it back across or just heading it towards goal. And we saw the success from that, of course. And it was a great header from Joe Rodon. I think took a slight nick on Semenyo on the way through, but a great header and what you can do when you put a decent cross into the box. And I thought, to be honest, overall from set pieces, we were pretty dominant all day, if I'm being totally honest. We looked more of a threat than they did. I know they actually ended up scoring 2 set pieces themselves, but we did look more of a threat in my opinion. But yeah, and then we get then ourselves level. We get to half time and you're thinking, all right, okay, stupid goal. We've been the better team in the first half, which we were. I think the XG at half-time, we'd had like 0.9. DCL had 3 good chances. We'd scored from a corner, and we'd been the better team, in my opinion, in that first half. And the second half comes out, and for the first half an hour, as I said, were absolutely fantastic. I thought, as I said, the midfield dominated in there. And I didn't think that Tyler Adams, Alex Scott, and Ryan Christie knew what hit him in the second half. And we were getting bodies forward. I thought the fullbacks, and this is going to be something that I think we're going to see from Leeds United for the rest of the season, to be honest. Our fullbacks are going to be imperative for Leeds United keeping themselves in this division because they're fantastic on both sides. Goodmanson's brilliant on the left-hand side, constantly an option. And of course, Jaden Bogle on the right-hand side in the same breath. He's also really, really strong and offers a really, really good sort of overlapping run on the right-hand side as well. And I think they're going to be a real strength for Leeds United. But it's important when we've got these strengths to utilise them. And as I said, and when we get to the pinnacle of the game, we just stop doing everything that we've done well. Easy says, Scott, Farke is a scared manager. We should have won the game, but we just sat back and invited pressure in the Premier League is ridiculous. Every manager knows Farke is scared and will defend. I do think this one. I thought Farke set us up well. I did think Farke set us up well. And we'll get on to the player ratings and obviously we'll talk about the manager then as well. But I did think we set up well, and I thought we attacked the game well. But you are right, Easy. I think we're going to have to find a better way of seeing games out because, as I said, Fulham, all we did was drop deeper, deeper, deeper. Against Wolves, all we did was drop deeper, deeper, deeper. And again today, all we did was drop deeper and deeper and deeper. And as you said, Easy, we ended up paying the maximum price and conceding a goal right at the end. I don't think that's Farke's tactics, though, in the great respect. I know the substitutes, I think, in like the 89th minute were that way inclined. But when we listened to Daniel Farke in his press conference midweek, he didn't talk about the idea that Leeds United is going to continue to drop. He actually talked about an idea that Leeds United are not going to drop, and we're going to and we wasn't happy with that second half against Wolves. So I didn't think we'd see the same thing again today. I didn't think we'd see Leeds United dropping and dropping and dropping like we did. I didn't think we'd see that because, as I said, he talked in his press conference about the fact that we weren't going to do that this time. But we end up doing it, and we make this, as you said, we make the exact same mistake again. Drop in, take off all our attacking threat, and then they end up scoring the goal. But yeah, I must admit, if you're any Leeds fan though, you're absolutely gutted. I did think they had threats though. Like I thought, I was going to mention this. Their left hand side was brilliant today. Truffert and Semenyo, that is as good as you're going to face in the whole Premier League, in my opinion, on that left hand side. They are so strong, both them individuals. Not just actually strong physically, but a strong partnership. Wow, that left hand side caused all sorts of problems. And everyone talks about how good Brendan Aarons is defensively. He couldn't. I think he struggled against Truffert. He was constantly out of position, not marking his man, and they saw joy. And Truffert, to be honest, if he'd delivered a few crosses quicker, that could have been a real issue for us. So as I said, I know Brendan Aronson was. Today was Brendan Aronson's best performance, but I don't think he was unbelievable by any means. To be honest with you. And also, as I said, I think that when I look at something that Bournemouth do really well and what they were creating chances with. They found ways at times where Senesi would have the ball at centre half and they fizzed the ball into Evan Nilsson, and because he's got such a good first touch and he's so good at sort of in tight spaces, he was managed to pop it off to people, and he actually saw a chance on about the 84th minute from Krupe, the guy who ended up scoring the goal, obviously for Bournemouth, that bounces to him and he obviously takes a shot and it goes sort of, I think he just scuffs it. But that was a warning for Leeds United, and we didn't learn from that, and we just dropped deeper and deeper and deeper. And we've actually seen this before as well. Like even remember Blackburn at home last year near on Boxing Day, where we did the exact same thing and dropped against them, having scored the goal, and they I think scored from a corner, I believe, right at the end. But yeah, just disappointing because I think when we talk about, obviously I've talked about on this channel quite a bit. I think we need 10 wins really and 10 draws. That's what you're looking at, and we've got another draw today. But we need 40 points. Now I've been counting them down in my head. So now we've got 8 draws, 8 wins to do as such. That gets you 40 points. I do think it's going to be much higher this year as well. But I don't know. We've got to find a way of getting another line, because there's only going to be so many times this year, by the way, people, that we find ourselves in a position where we're winning with 30 seconds left or 2 minutes left in the game. There'll only be certain times this year that happens, which is why in the Everton game it was so important we got that over the line, and why in the Wolves game it was so important we got that one over the line, because naturally that we're only so good, aren't we? And we are working with a newly promoted squad. We've got lack of squad depth in certain areas that we know about. We don't have the attacking quality. Although I thought that was much better today. I thought we created a lot of chances today, and that wasn't our biggest issue. But we are going to have to, we need to, when we're in these positions and we get to sort of 10 minutes, 15 minutes left, we've got to manage the game and get the lead of line. And it's something I've talked about as a positive on this channel. I've actually talked about Leeds United managing games well. I don't think we did it as well today. I really don't think it was well. I thought when the ball goes long, a lot of the times, which it did, a lot of the time that second half, we didn't actually get... Easy's going mad at me. We didn't actually get control of it. Like, the amount of times Darlow had the ball in the second half and we just knock it long. This is the last 10 minutes of the game. And he wouldn't even give DCL a shot. It just goes straight back to the goalkeeper. Easy says, don't blame Farke. The players will keep dropping points because Farke forces the players to defend. I still think we'll finish top 10, but I can't stand Farke. See, this is good, but do you not agree? Do you think Farke was lying then in his press conference? Because in his press conference, he said he was disappointed in the second half against Wolves, the way we dropped so deep. Was he lying then? He might have been, and that might be his tactics, but that is what he said in his press conference. He said he was disappointed in the second half with how Leeds United dropped so deep. That is what he said. So I don't know. And I think, as I said, the players have got to take a bit of responsibility as well. Like, Farke is not telling them when they're going long to DCL with 5 minutes to go just to knock it straight to their goalkeeper. He obviously wants it to go into DCL's feet or into his chest so he can actually play off him. I don't know. Agree with Easy. Poor from Farke. Kudos to set the team up well, but the second half decision to sit back and bring on the likes of Harrison over Tanaka, just inviting them on, and you can't do that. He brought Tanaka on though in the end. He brought Tanaka on, and Jack Harrison was fine. Like there's this, Jack Harrison was absolutely fine. Jack Harrison did well when he came on today. He did really well when he came on. He had a good shot that got saved by the goalkeeper. He kept the ball ticking over. There was nothing wrong with the Jack Harrison sub. He'll be all right for us. I've said this on the channel before. Jack Harrison off the bench, people, will be okay for us this year. We didn't lose the game because he brought Jack Harrison on. Not a chance. We lost the game because we started sitting deeper and deeper and deeper. And if that isn't a situation with Daniel Farke, this is where I do agree with these. If that isn't Daniel Farke telling Leeds United to do that and drop that deep and be such, not just a low block, we're on about the edge of our penalty area scenes here. If he's not telling Leeds United to do that, he's got to coach them not to do that, I suppose. I suppose that is the criticism you can give for Daniel Farke. If he's not telling Leeds United to be that deep, he's got to coach them and not let them drop that deep and be seeing him on the touchline going, get up, get up, get up, like you do see with some managers. But yeah, as I said, look, everyone wants to slag off Farke. Everyone seems to hate. We've got a people in the fan base who are obsessed with Daniel Farke. I'm not saying Easy's that, and I'm not saying Mark's that, but we have got an underlying tone, and the results are still pretty good, people. They are good. But you are right in terms of if Farke is telling him to drop that deep, then that is on him. But he did say in his presser that, like I said, that he wasn't trying to do that. Anyway, let's move on to player ratings because we've talked enough about Daniel Farke there. Darlow, let's start with Darlow in goal. I don't think it was good from Darlow today. I actually don't think he had a particularly good game. We'll just get over this. Poor management again, defending for half an hour from a one-goal leave. Not going to work in the Prem. You say that though, Wandering Soul. We were like 2 minutes off. We're 120 seconds off doing it. And I don't think until they scored the goal, there was loads of chances for Bournemouth later on. As I said, I do think this is going to be a criticism for Daniel Farke. And I've seen it in the chat now. I know this is where this is going to go. I know what it's going to be on social media. I haven't even looked on social media, but I know it's going to be. But I also don't want us to go full steam ahead. And by the way, we had a corner in the 86th minute. And the other day, I watched Liverpool, who had a corner in about the 88th minute. And we had Daniel Farke, and they had Virgil van Dijk and Konate stood on the halfway line. We, in the last minute, or in the 86th minute, had a corner, and Struijk and Rodon were both in the penalty area. So, do you know what I mean? Easy says, Farke is a liar. We could have won, but Farke told the players to defend. Farke out. I just disagree with that. I think that's too reactionary, personally. Anyway, we need to get on to player ratings because we're getting talk about Farke. I tell you what we'll do. Tomorrow's show, we'll have to talk about this naturally, but we will talk about Daniel Farke and where and what he should have done differently, because I think, obviously, I mentioned at the start of my show that we need to find a way to see games out better, and we can't start defending as deep. But is that a tactical scenario? And I know, as I said, I know he brought Tanaka on to defend late on, and I know he brought Harrison on, which people think is defensive, which is fine, and I think it probably is defensive. But I don't know. Maybe, as I said, maybe he's a liar. Anyway, let's move on to the player ratings. So Darlow, as I said, I thought Darlow had a bad game today. I think Darlow's been fantastic since he's come into this Leeds United team this year. He had a bad game today. The wall is his priority. I'm sorry, it's a goalkeeper's responsibility. If Aronson's not good enough to be in the underneath and too small, you've got to tell someone else to do that job. That isn't how it works. And when we talk about set pieces, and we can talk about set pieces being really well and something that we're good on a positive standpoint. But the set piece coach, by the way, needs to work on defensive set piece as well. Why was Brendan Aronson behind that wall? Why was it Brendan Aronson when there was room? Madness decision. Absolutely madness decision. And then obviously they strike through, but that has got to be down to Darlow as well. He's got to set up his wall better. The wall is always the goalkeeper's responsibility. That was a mistake, 100%. I also thought in the second half, I thought it was shaky. I don't think his kicking was as good today as we've seen from since he's come in the team. I thought it was dodgy. As I said, last 10 minutes, a lot of the time, he just belted it well over Calvert-Lewin. It goes straight back to their goalkeeper, Petrovic. And he didn't even give Calvert-Lewin a chance to sort of win a foul on the halfway line or hold the ball up or anything. He didn't give us any chance. He just went straight long. He missed a punch in the second half as well. Quite a clear punch, which from a corner that they should have done better with. I don't think it was a good game from Darlow. So he has to get a 4 for me. I thought it was a poor game from Darlow. Bogle I thought was brilliant again. And just because we've drawn the game doesn't mean everyone was crap. Bogle was good at right back today. He was really strong. Going forward, going back, could have won us a penalty. I thought he was good. I thought he was really strong today. So he'd have to get, I think he'd have to get a 7 out of 10, Bogle. I thought he was really good. I thought he dealt with Semenyo well. I know Semenyo scored, but it wasn't really Bogle's fault the reason he scored. So yeah, I thought Bogle for me would be a 7 out of 10. I thought he was good. I thought Rodon, again, was good at centre-half. I think he did a good job, although part of the defensive responsibility is to make sure that line pushes out, which he didn't do well enough. But he did get his goal. He'd have to be a 7 as well. Pascal Struijk, I thought, wasn't as good as Rodon. I think he was the worst of the two, personally. He'd have to get just an average 6, in my opinion. He's passing in the first half. I know we think that Struijk's a good passer. I thought it was a bit off in the first half, personally. So he gets a 6. Goodmanson at left back, again, brilliant. I think he was probably man of the match for us, if I'm being honest. I'd probably give him an 8. He was so good, Goodmanson. I don't think either goal's his fault at all. He should have been on the winning team today, Goodmanson, for sure. Going back, going forward, never loses the ball. He was brilliant, Goodmanson, in my opinion. Going in the midfield, Ampadu, I'll get onto your comments after. I'll just finish these player ratings. Ampadu, again, in the holding midfield role, I thought was really strong as well. I thought he had a decent game. But again, his responsibility for me to get that team pushed up. But I thought on the ball, he did struggle, I think, in the first half at times, playing poor passes to Darlow. I thought in that moment, after they scored the first goal with Semenyo, I thought Ampadu had a spell of about 10 minutes when he was shaky. But I think he wasn't bad. He'd probably get a 6. Stack, bit quieter of the two. He was tidy, though, today. And he showed a bit of skill today as well. Like, at times, in tight spaces, I thought he got out of it really well. I thought he wasn't bad today, Stack, to be honest. I'd give him a 7. Longstaff is our set-piece taker now. Longstaff has to be our set-piece taker from now on, in my opinion. So strong on set pieces, in my opinion. All the corners were pretty much on the money. I think one was slightly overhit, but compared to everyone else we've had for the last sort of 3 years, taking our set pieces since Daniel Farke's been at the club, it was fantastic. Obviously scored a goal as well, which we've got to bear in mind the player ratings. I think he'd probably get an 8. I thought it was really strong. We've got that is our set piece taker, Sean Longstaff, and I think with him taking our set pieces, we will be much stronger on set pieces because just fundamentally puts in better crosses than the rest of them. So I think, yeah, I'll give him an 8. Okafor, slightly quiet, but I still think he was a threat today. I still think he was a threat. I thought more in the first half he was a threat. But what I'm liking with Okafor is he drives inside and commits people, and he opens up the whole game. And then he gives options all over. You've got Goodmanson going on the left-hand side. You've got Bogle, which he spreads the ball out to the right-hand side. You've got Aronson, who spreads the ball onto the right-hand side. That drive, inverted drive that he does from the left-hand side space into a central space is really good. And I think that's something we can need to build on. At times he was a bit, I think, sloppy in the final third. Like there was one time in the first half he did a really good run, really good dribble, and he just sort of falls away at the last minute, and that was disappointing. But I thought overall he was an okay game for him. I'd have to give him. I don't think he was brilliant, so maybe a 6.5 on him. Aronson, I thought on a defensive standpoint was probably one of his worst games actually for Leeds. I didn't think he was that good defensively at all. But I actually thought attacking wise, he was a bit better today. Not miles better. But for Aronson's level, from what we've seen over the last few weeks, I thought he was better from an attacking standpoint, in my opinion. So he'd probably, for an Aronson performance, it'd probably be a 6, in my opinion. I thought he was okay today, Aronson. I still believe when it gets to the 65th minute, we shouldn't be taking Okafor off, and we should instead be taking Aronson off. I've got it in my notes. Aronson should come off for Jack Harrison. It shouldn't be Okafor, in my opinion. And maybe that's something we can talk about with Daniel Farke when we get onto his player rating. DCL, I thought he had service today. DCL, he should have scored. I mean, we should have been out of sight really in the game. We shouldn't have gone 1-0 down, and we should have been 3-0 up. DCL should have scored at least one of them, if not 2 of the chances, if not even 3 of them, to be honest, and should have put us well ahead. And we shouldn't have given up that stupid goal in the first half. So we should have been well up in the game. When I think about this more, we should have won today. We were up in the game. We gave up at least one. That first goal was totally stupid. We missed loads of good chances. We should have won today. It was a massive let-off, in my opinion. We conceded right at the end as well. But yeah, DCL, I think it'd have to be a 5 today. I thought it was a bad game. I thought his work rate's always really good. He worked hard, but striker's there to put the ball in the back of the net, and when you've got 3 big chances like he had, one of them's got to end up in the net. He should have come out with a goal today. Right, let's get into your my comments because yeah, maybe I'm on a different end to some of you guys today, which is not usual to fair. I think me and Easy sort of naturally clash at times, but I don't think we've been as strongly disagreeing with each other as we have in this particular match reaction. Mark says bringing on Harrison gives you more solidarity going backwards. Tanaka gives you more control. Tanaka came on for the last few minutes. The sub suggest he wasn't being proactive, more looking to defend. Yeah, but come on, Tanaka comes on the 89th minute for goodness sake. Like, all right, if that was done on the 70th minute, fair enough. The 89th minute, I don't have an issue with that. Come on. I mean, really? That is, if you're going about the Tanaka sub, like, that is ridiculous, in my opinion. Scott, I know I rate the squad, but Fark is a second-tier manager. The sooner he goes, the better. I can't stand people blaming players when they could have gone on to win comfortably. Fair enough. Fair enough. I think we're just going to have to sort of disagree on this one a bit. But we can get into it more, I think, tomorrow. But you take a point before the game, so I think Fark is almost a victim of his own success to a degree. Yeah, I think that's probably fair. I do think he's a victim of his own success. Like, I think because we've been good so far this season, like, and the points total is good. Like, we'd have all took 8 points from our first 6 games for sure, with the sort of games that we've had. I think potentially Daniel Farke is a victim of his own success. And he set the team up so well, in my opinion, in the first half, and especially in the second half, the first half of it, that maybe he's a victim of his own success. Maybe he's a victim of his own success. But I don't know, this complete Daniel Farke battering, I just don't think it's fair. I don't know. Hey, Scott, good performance today. Disappointing to draw, but we are 1 point close to survival. Agree we should have won today. Yeah, when I look back at the game now, the more I'm thinking about it, people, we had so many ways to win the game today. If DCL puts his chances away, we win the game. If we don't defend as deep right in the last sort of 10 minutes, we probably win the game. If we don't give up the stupid goal from a set piece in the first half, we win the game. If we defend better for the second half, for the goal, we win the game. There were so many ways to win the game today, and we've thrown the game away today. We have. Like, when I more think about it, it's not really... It's a point game maybe before you kick a ball, but having played the 90 minutes, it's not a point game. It's 3 points lost. It's 2 points thrown away. It is. I think it is. Farke's a good squad. Most managers would have won that game. I'm frustrated because the fans will blame individuals instead of blaming Farke. He's useless. I pray Man United poach him. I don't think that's going to happen, mate. I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there. We will obviously talk tomorrow in the 8 o'clock stream. It looks like it's going to be quite a full-on one from the comments I've seen today, by all accounts. We will be back at 8 p.m. tomorrow, talking this through again if you want to get into it in a bit more detail. But yeah, I think when I look back and sort of the more we've analysed it, and I think Easy is right at times, I think we can agree on this. Like, we should have found a way to win that game today. We should have... There's DCL's at fault. He should take his chance in the first half. Carl Dowell's at fault. He should set the wall up better. The set-piece coach is at fault. He should set the wall up better, in my opinion, and make sure that doesn't happen. That's the set-piece coach's job, which is why I've been screaming about bringing a set-piece coach and why I'm so frustrated on the Friday stream or the Thursday stream when we found out we weren't bringing a set-piece coach and we're just promoting within. That had to be worked on. Yeah. But maybe, yeah, maybe. Okay, Farke is brilliant and working wonders with the crap squad. Is that better? We'll get into it tomorrow, Easy. We'll get into it tomorrow. But yeah, thanks all for watching. Leeds United are 1 point closer to the survival, I guess, thing. Hope. But I do agree. I think where me and Easy can find common ground is from the performance we put in on the pitch today, we should have won that game. We had the better chances. We were the better team. We should have won. I'll get into one more comment and then we'll go. As in, Tanaka should have come on earlier. Okay, around the 60th minute, Mark, to regain control of the midfield. The subs came too late, in my opinion. I think you've misinterpreted the previous comment anyway. Decent point. Yeah, okay. I thought you meant like Tanaka shouldn't have come on, right? If that makes more sense. Yeah, maybe that would have been a better strategy. That's a really good point, to be fair. Anyway, thanks all for watching. As always, bit of a chaos day, to be honest. I'm going to sit back now, enjoy the Ryder Cup, and be a bit disappointed that Leeds United have only picked up the 1 point. See you all later, everybody. I guess.